What up, gangsters? It's your boy Wesley with Happy Stonks. Today I've got an interesting one for you. We're going to kind of take a look at Earth 2 and the possibility of purchasing virtual land. So you can see on the website, it's kind of interesting how they advertise this. I was reading through this a little bit, and it basically seems as if they're trying to sell this as some sort of futuristic game, kind of like, Ready Player One sort of style, where you can basically purchase virtual land that you will then be able to use in the game when the game comes out. They kind of gloat about, who's on our team, blah, 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 blah. It's just really kind of piqued my interest because this whole concept of buying virtual land, especially nowadays with these NFTs gaining so much popularity. So I thought I'd kind of take a deeper dive into this to see what it was all about. So, on the homepage, one thing that's definitely interesting at first is you can see that basically they've got a variety of different countries listed here, United States. And I've gone through here already and actually purchased some land, so I'll show you that in a second. But basically how this works is you purchase small virtual lots of land, which are done through what looks to be some sort of a Google Earth engine. In fact, why don't I go ahead and kind of pull that up and I'll show you. So right here on the website, you can see that I've got a map up, and we've got Los Angeles searched in here, so we're looking at Los Angeles right now. But if you were to take a closer look and zoom in a bit, you'll see that there's a bunch of different parcels of land, and the software basically allows you to click on any number of these and purchase them for whatever price that particular country's land is currently going for. So there's not necessarily any given land within a country that sells for more than others, but more so differences in price from country to country. And once you actually purchase land, whatever country happened to purchase that is, the user on the other end that purchased it, their flag kind of pops up here on the map, which is, interesting. We've got someone in Canada who, decided to purchase some of this building. And so it's just a really interesting concept. Sounds like a gold mine, in my opinion, if they're selling every square piece of land on Google Earth. And you can see, I could pretty much go anywhere here in LA and you'll see that there's land being purchased. So it's quite an interesting concept here. Going back to that homepage, you can see Holy See. To be honest, I don't even know where that is, but it's up, what is that, 129,000%, and it's currently selling at $130 a tile. The United States that we were just looking at is selling for $54.60 a tile. It's already up 54,000%. My bad. So it's pretty crazy how these have kind of increased in value. They also advertise that if you own property in any given country, as more property is are purchased up, not only does your price increase, but you're also gaining some sort of a residual income, kind of like an income tax sort of thing that you're collecting from the others who purchase in your area. So, it's kind of a strange little setup that they've got here. So, I'm going to go ahead and pull up. They actually made a teaser YouTube video showing what inside of the video game is going to look like once it's released. And that kind of really piqued my interest because, aside from the potential investment here and making some money, I thought it was quite impressive in terms of the quality and the texture they were able to generate for, this whole actual video game experience. So this is the actual YouTube video that I was able to find. I'll just play it out just for a second here so you can really see the texture and stuff going on. It's absolutely incredible. If I was any more than a couple feet away from my screen right now, I would think that this is a live video that someone took on their drone, going over the mountains. So they've definitely put in quite a bit of work here. But anyways, I'm not going to, make you guys watch this whole thing. What I would like to do, though, is go into my account so you can kind of see what it looks like from the inside, as well as go over a little bit in terms of can you actually sell? Is there actually money to be made here? Because that, of course, is the biggest concern. Me being kind of an early adopter of things, I jump in on everything in the hopes of, skyrocketing and making some extra money. But this one is I was a little bit hesitant about because I really didn't know what direction they were going for. So I'm going to go ahead and click into my profile, and you'll see here that I own 13 different properties. Now, the 13 properties that I own are just 13 general areas or groups of tile that I own. So if you scroll down and actually see the different tiles that I own, you'll see, for example, Heathrow Airport, I purchased 16 tiles. Now, my initial thought was to block the runway, thinking, well, a plane can't take off if it doesn't have the runway. Now that I'm looking back on things, I don't think this video game is going to be the type of game where whatever that property is in present times, necessarily going to be what it's going to be in the video game, if that makes sense. So it might not have been the best investment to just purchase the middle of an airport runway. Maybe it would have been better to go buy some isolated land somewhere. I don't know. Time will tell. But you can kind of see here the value of what these various properties and tiles are going for. Now, another thing that's kind of interesting here is you saw right here, here's my net worth, $1,689. At first, when this first came out, they were advertising this only with a dollar sign. So I was a little skeptical when over time this randomly turned into an E, which, kind of draws away from that whole implied US dollar currency and into whatever this Earth 2 currency is. And that really kind of makes sense when I go back, and I'll show you in just a minute here what the marketplace looks like. They do have a marketplace where you can post your property for sale, which is, supposedly how you're able to sell this property. And then eventually there's also kind of a process for withdrawing it, which I'll go over shortly as well here in a second. But in general, you can see that since I initially purchased in, I'm up 167.7% profit. Now, on initial glance, that sounds incredible. It looks like my value has increased by $630, so my initial investment was somewhere around $400. That's on top of this, income tax that you receive, like I said, for being an owner in the same property as people are purchasing. Right now, up in the top corner right here, you can see that I've got $4.60 that have come out of that. This would have been a lot more, but when I first started getting into this, I actually purchased more property using the income tax as my capital to do so. So, I would say this would probably be closer to 30 or 40 bucks, or I guess in this case, dollars, not the same. But regardless, it is showing some sort of increasing value there as well. So the big question here is, how do you sell property? So let's go ahead and take a look at the marketplace. I kind of want to show you a bit in terms of how that is run and, supposedly how you would get your money back. Now, one thing that I noticed that was a little, made me a little uneasy was people are selling their properties for much less than the current market value. So it's a little deceiving seeing how much a particular area has gone up in value, or going to your profile and seeing that percentage gain, and then in actuality coming to this marketplace and seeing that people are selling it for pennies on the dollar. So as you can see here, right now it's listed on low tile value, and you'll see that percent versus new land value. This person is selling this 750 tiles for that matter at 60% less than that current market value. And if people are doing that, obviously those are going to be the first ones to be bought up before yours are if you're trying to sell them for a more reasonable price. And you can see that as I scroll down, I mean, there's an entire page of people selling it for up to 40% or more under the market value. And, I can even, let's go a couple pages in, maybe let's skip over to page 10 here. Oh, well, even page 5. I'm at the bottom of page 5, and we're still selling for negative 35% of market value. I mean, that is huge losses in terms of looking at this as an investment. What I also found pretty crazy, going to the leaderboards, is seeing how much of this property actual people currently own. I mean, look at this number one, and I love how they rank you. Basically, the more you buy, the higher your rank. Kind of makes it a little bit of a game there as well. But, looking at the top buyer, they have spent, or they own at least, $313,000 worth of property. I mean, that is absolutely insane looking here at kind of all of the properties that they currently own. I mean, I cannot imagine someone putting that much money into something like this. And scrolling down to the bottom of the first page, every single person here in the top 50 has spent over $40,000 on this property. So that can only mean one of two things. One, there's a bunch of crazies out there blowing their money, potentially risking it all in hopes that this turns into something magical. Or maybe these people, truly believe in whatever this so-called Earth 2 game is going to be here in the future. And maybe they do see some potential revenue and gains in the future within the game that are going to be beneficial. And, they're, in essence, locking up this property. You can't make more property. So seeing that they're using Google Earth, they have a certain allotted number of tiles. Only certain tiles are available. People are buying them up. They have bought up a ton of real estate that could potentially lead to some gains here in the future. So, overall, is this a good investment? My top of the line answer would be definitely not. This is a super risky investment. I don't think anyone knows what the hell is going on, to be honest. They've put out these teaser YouTube videos. They've talked about, they advertise all over their website in terms of what their eventual goal and, dream is with this game. But this is not a legitimate investment. If you've got some money that you are 100% okay with losing outright and you want to throw it into something, cross your fingers, wait a year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe 5 years, you're completely willing to lose it all for that potential chance of it actually turning into something tangible, sure, go ahead. Like I said, $400 was probably a little bit of a hefty investment. I've seen some gains. Like I said, I won't be able to cash all this out, but I fully intend on just letting it ride, seeing what this turns into in the future, and hopefully being able to turn this into something that made my wait worthwhile. I'm kind of putting it behind me, forgetting about it, hoping I wake up a millionaire one day. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you liked this YouTube video, please be sure to subscribe. My entire channel is going to be about finance and investing. I do a lot of tutorials, lots on day trading, swing trading, etc. If you have a particular video that you'd like to see, definitely be sure to leave a comment below. I'm going to make an effort to go through all of those comments and make videos as possible, covering all the topics that you guys want to see. So thank you again, guys. See you later.